Hello Leo, and welcome to your monthly horoscope for July for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm going to give you a broad outline of what to expect, but please stay with me. I will then dive deep to give you in intricate detail all the key ins and outgoings of your situation. Now, this month begins with the potency of the new moon in the sign of Cancer, which occurred on the 29th of June, still pouring its energy into this month. But it was in a right angle with Jupiter, the planet of growth, which is currently in house 9, your sister fire sign of Aries. And that's very adventurous, very expansive, wonderful for embracing travel or higher education. But the 12th house position of the Sun is more reflective, but you do get some social support from Mercury and Venus starting this month in house 11, Gemini, very bubbly. So I think you're going to be attracted to getting together with people, but it's probably a case of quality over quantity. But the standout moment for this month that I'm excited to share with you is the 22nd, because then you're going to see the Sun arrive in your sign. The Sun rules the sign of Leo. That's what gives you your regal nobility. The Sun is the most important. In astrology, we call it a luminary. It is obviously known as a planet, but it's the heart of everything that burnishes creativity, warmth, affection, and most importantly for you, new beginnings. So some new beginnings can start to develop for you later this month. And I also need to tell you about an exciting development on the 5th, because Mars, the planet of passion, is going to move into the most confident, assertive part of your situation. So please stay with me. If you would like to ascend above this zodiac broadcast and embrace more serious astrology to guide your future moves, if you give me 3 pieces of personal birth data of time, date and place, I can give you a roadmap that you can use to guide your moves for the rest of your life, and also a 12-month forecast, and you can get 30% off with my special package. No 2 charts are the same, they're totally unique to you. Please see the link beneath this video for more. Finally, I'm nearly at the 100,000 mark. Hopefully I will crash through it even by the time that you're watching this video. But if you've subscribed, I'm very grateful. If you've yet to do so, please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. But please stay with me for more. So Leo, your monthly forecast for July begins with the tension that was created between the square between Mars and Pluto at the end of last month, prevalent for the first 4 days of this month. So Pluto's in your 6th house, and it's been transforming the practicalities in your life, maybe even work, your attitudes to health and diet, your responsibilities to others since 2008. But at the end of last month and at the start of this month, Mars, the planet of individuality, the planet of passion, is in a part of your situation which demands much greater freedom. So there could be something that you may feel a bit conflicted about at the start of this month, where you don't want to let someone down, but equally you may be absolutely fed up to the back teeth of always being the person who makes the sacrifices. But unlike in the past, you may be inclined to assert your needs in this situation much more at the start of this month. Also, that new moon, yes, it's a new moon. That can be about where we set our intentions, but the 12th house new moon is one of the most complex, and because it's in a square with Jupiter in the 9th house can amplify. So if there is something of a sensitive nature washing around your situation as you come into this month, it can feel much greater than usual. The great news is that having Mercury, the planet of communication, and Venus, the planet of relating, in for you, your sector of friendship, there could be someone who can be very supportive as you come into this month. But equally, you may become much more conscious as the month goes on about who you can really rely upon and who is more of a fair weather certainly colleague, because I think the 12th, 6th house angle, the axis between those two parts of your chart, you've got a seesaw between the most psychological part of your chart, coming from the Sun in Cancer, and the practicality of the full moon on the 13th, and also Pluto being in your 6th house. And if something's out of kilter between your own personal well-being, if you're focused very much on the physical domain, pursuing work and keeping everything together in terms of the housework, but you're not giving yourself the time and the space for peaceful meditation or any kind of healing, or you're someone who's a bit resistant to feeling that you may have any kind of vulnerabilities, which can be the case with Leo people, because pride is very, very important to you. You're just reminded all through this month to try and keep things holistic. We are all one and the same in terms of our emotion, our psychology, and our physical state. If we deny the first two, which has often been a very British thing, it's very unhealthy. So that can be a theme this month. However, on the 5th, we have Mercury diving deep, moving into the sign of Cancer. It's only going to be there for 2 weeks, which is unusual. Usually takes 21 days to work through a sign. It will emerge in your sign on the 19th, which you're really going to appreciate. But I'm just letting you know that Mercury in this area can lack clarity and precision that Mercury is so well known for, because the watery energy of Cancer can blur. So you could feel more hypersensitive from that point. However, with Mars moving and getting big and proud in its movement into the sign of Taurus on the same day, that's very exciting. If you do want to raise your profile and you want to be more assertive about your worldly interactions. Now in week 2, the Sun in the 12th house of your situation forges a very positive angle to Uranus in the 10th, all to do with your role in the wider world. But Uranus, of course, is a very unsettling influence. It's not very happy in the sign of Taurus, as you probably know. It's in its fall, but it probably has also been shaking up the role you have in life pretty well since May 2018 through to October 2018, and then again from March 2019, depending on exactly how it's been impacting on your personal planets in your natal chart. I think you probably have seen some changes, or it's been very unpredictable. Obviously COVID hasn't helped that, has it, more recently? Not one little bit. But I think this link between the Sun and Uranus in a sextile points towards using your instincts, the 12th house, to make your professional moves. And Uranus can be about the truth, but it's also about your need to be authentic. And Mars can give you, in the same sector as Uranus and the North Node, much greater drive to demonstrate that side of your nature which is probably your best suit, which is confidence. Yes, there of course are times when you feel more tremulous. That's the human state. But when you really decide to go for it, your charisma can just draw goodness to you, and Mars is going to help that process. And the Sun and Uranus are saying, be open to new ways of doing things, but listening to your gut instinct. That's the Sun in the 12th. Now the full moon on the 13th is in the sign of Capricorn, that 6th house energy that Pluto is emphasizing in the square with Mars at the start of this month and the end of June. So here again, if there's something you don't really want to look at, it could be, for example, you're working very diligently, but those people that you have to collaborate with at work might actually not be as supportive of you as you would like to believe. Unfortunately, there could be some two-faced stuff going around, but no one's necessarily going to reveal criticism directly. It's much more likely to be done in a surreptitious, and I think that's a much more unkind way. And also, because from the 17th through to the 22nd, the Sun and then Mercury go face to face with Pluto, a lot of tension can build up between the more psychological and physical dimensions of your life. Pluto can reveal things. and sometimes things that we're not aware of, but it also can be where we want to be most powerful. So if you're someone who's a bit of an organisational freak, a neat freak, and you've got people around you who find that difficult, they may push back against you, but it may come as a degree of a surprise to you, because this energy is coming through in a more secret way from that 12th house energy. However, on the 18th, Venus also moves out of your sector of sociability and pitches into the sign of Cancer. If there is a relationship which isn't working very well, it will be revealed over the following 28 days. But delightfully, as I mentioned before, Mercury moves into your sign on the 19th to be joined by the Sun on the 22nd. And then we have a glorious new moon in your sign on the 28th, because it's in a trine with the planet of plenty, the planet of fortune, the planet of growth, the planet of optimism, which is in house 9 for you. So you're really getting its more Sagittarius energies, and of course it's a mutual fire triplicity in Aries as it is, and of course through its 9th house of Sagittarius, and the Sun in your sign, which for you of course is the 1st house, but in terms of the overall zodiac, house 5. So a lot of fire, a lot of passion, a lot of initiative. And if you feel, for example, that this month you do have some revelations about some people's motivations and how sincere they are, or are you always the person who's cleaning up behind other people by listening to all their problems, or being the person who covers everyone else's shifts when they want time off? I think it's time to focus more on what you need to do for yourself. And when you're at your best, and you can be by the end of this month, because not just because of that new moon, because Mars combines with Uranus. And if there is a situation where people have been unfair or unkind or quarrelsome for no real reason, my word, you could really push back as this month comes to a close, because Mars conjoining with Uranus is one of the most radical and rebel-rousing and spontaneous combustible influences you can get. And because they're very close to the surface, the 10th house, if you decide to say how you really feel to these people who may, I'm not saying there will be people like this, who may be undermining, you're going to really be very, very direct. Uranus the truth, Mars confident. It could be quite a brutal sharing of your view of the situation, but they will be left in no doubt at all how you feel. But I think that this could be a transitional point which is so good for you for the rest of this year. It's like you're really creating a platform to flourish and thrust forwards in the most charismatic way possible, because it's all in there. It's just you're a complex sign because you're a fixed sign. So sometimes staying with what you know is so much more attractive than taking risks, even though everyone thinks you're the most huge presence of all the zodiac signs. It's the cardinal signs that often get things off the ground, and very often you need to be working with someone else in some kind of leader role within a partnership. But if that partnership isn't working because you're being taken for granted, with Venus in that 12th house, I think a few home truths are going to be exchanged at the end of this month, or you're going to dramatically reset your focus when it comes to your career and creative talents, and even the way you dress. I think a big shake-up, an exciting shake-up, is in the works, the astral works, the celestial conundrums that we're all faced with, but you're going to really move into top form as this month comes to a close. All the best and take care.